I don't think a Detroit public school from like our school district has ever made it to Worlds. I think we'd be the first Detroit public school to ever make it to Worlds. What these elite teams realized is that if they can pick up from the floor, they can just have their human players flood the field with coral. Now you can just place 3 times the amount of coral that everyone else can.
I'm getting nervous the closer we get to the product.
I think you're doing the classic founder bullshit where you're like, I'm not going to tell anyone about my idea because they're going to steal my idea. And in reality, like getting people to care about your idea is harder than you think it is.
It's a good. No, I think you're right.
Imagine if you get that report in an email and then you can just reply to the email in plain text in like natural language and say, fix these things.
That'd be pretty sweet. You know what my hook is? It's logging on Webflow sucks. Because I said that yesterday at a happy hour, and I watched someone I wasn't talking to just lean in.
How the fuck do we get an open-ended custom prompt into WordPress or into a CMS? Because we don't know what the data is. Ahrefs has a direct MetaMonster competitor now, but they don't have any CMS integration.
Yeah. Their whole thing is dynamic, though.
You've got to teach the market knowledge. We talk about ourselves like this. 30 other companies already talk about themselves like that. I'm good.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Things are hectic. My entire life is robotics and also trying to launch a product on Monday. But I'm kind of delighted that I don't have, no offense, but I'm delighted I don't have any Miscreants clients right now.
For yet. I got 2 product inbounds in like one day.
Oh, I knew about one. I didn't know about both.
I got another. Well, technically I also just got another.
So we're up to 3. Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I can just not close them. You know.
I mean, I do like being able to pay
Cash.
my bills. So yeah, I probably will tell them I can't start on anything until May, though.
That's fine. That's what we're telling everyone right now. Like all inbound that comes in, we're like swamped for RSA at the moment. We can like kick things off and start like loosely, but it's like hands-on keyboard stuff. Everyone's tied up.
Nice. When is RSA?
April 28th, 26th.
Okay.
When B-side starts.
Cool. So the reason that I can't start anything until May is one, we're launching MetaMonster, the beta, on Monday, and I need to like ramp all of our marketing back up, like start up Google Ads, start doing cold outreach, all that stuff again. But 2, there is now a non-0% chance that my robotics team makes it to Worlds and has to raise $10,000 and figure out how to get 15 high schoolers to Houston in 2 weeks.
That's awesome. $10K.
Yeah, I don't actually know what it will cost. That's just like kind of a number I'm pulling out of my ass. But like, we need to pay for like 15 flights, hotel rooms, and to transport a robot across the country.
Just have them take the pieces apart, put it in a suitcase, and rebuild it, and then
Yeah, that sounds like an idea from someone who has never touched a first robotics robot in their
Legos.
life. Yeah, same thing.
Failed at the tech, whatever it's called, the
like
Legos?
Robo Lego thing.
Yeah. I tried once, it was over.
Yeah, so we crushed our second competition again. And what that means, I'll try not to get too into the weeds because first robotics is so incredibly convoluted. But basically we have racked up 112 district ranking points between our first 2 competitions.
Nice.
You need about 70 to qualify for the state championships, so we have officially qualified for states. I leave at 6:30 tomorrow morning to go to the state championship for the first time ever. Our team has never been. And then district rank points are also how you qualify for Worlds. So generally speaking, if you get 150 state rank points, then you qualify for Worlds, and points at states count for triple what normal points count for. So if we finish kind of middle of the road and make it into playoffs and like win a playoff match, we will almost definitely qualify for Worlds. Which would be absolutely bonkers because then we, as I mentioned, have to raise a bunch of money, figure out how to get a bunch of kids to Houston, and compete against the best robots in the world as like a tiny scrappy team that has never even been to states before. And like it gets crazier. I've been doing some research. I don't think a Detroit public school from like our school district has ever made it to Worlds. There's only one team from DHDC that's ever made it, and I think they might have been like a private team, a private school or a charter school or something. There are a ton of teams from the Detroit metro area who make it, but they're all in the suburbs. I think we'd be the first Detroit public school from at least from our school district to ever make it to Worlds if this happens.
This is like a real like Mr. Schuster moment.
It's crazy.
This is awesome.
It's
cool.
like total Cinderella story vibes.
Yeah.
Now, if we make it to Worlds, we are going to get obliterated. We are like, I've been watching videos of some of the top robots, and they're insane. There's a robot from San Francisco that is like, it can put up 3 or 4x the points that we can put up in a given match by itself.
Gotcha.
It's stupid.
I see. What makes their robot so good? And like,
so actually really, really fucking clever strategy. So you have to know a little bit about the game to understand this, but basically like one of the core mechanisms of the game is you get these like foot-long PVC pipes, and you have to deliver them to a station in the middle of the field and place them on a rung of this like stand. And so the stand is called the reef, and the PVC chunks are called coral. The whole like theme is like I think I maybe talked about this in a previous episode. You're like repopulating the coral reefs. And so there's 2 of these coral stations where human players will drop coral down, and your robot can grab it. And so one of the most common designs for a robot this year is very similar to our design, which is where you have some sort of like ramp that can catch the coral from the player station, and it'll get fed into a series of like wheels or belts, into like some sort of launcher arm kind of thing that can then raise up and down on an elevator and like deliver the coral at the different rungs of the reef. Okay, all of that makes sense so far?
I'm mostly following. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
or have
so
our editor pop open a video, or send us some photos over.
yeah, I will.
Yeah.
So most teams, are limited by how fast they can drive between the reef and these human player coral stations, right?
Yeah.
And then how fast they can like, get to the right spot and accurately place the coral onto the reef. What these elite teams realized is that if they can pick up from the floor, they can just have their human players flood the field with coral. Their human players just chuck PVC pipe onto the field, just as much of it as they possibly can. And so now the robot doesn't have to go all the way to the coral station. It can just grab it from anywhere on the field and then move to and it's like, it's a risky strategy because if your robot isn't freaking awesome, it just gets in your way and it's really hard to maneuver. But if you have a top tier robot, now all of a sudden you've cut your cycle time down from like 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds to like a quarter of a second. And so now you can just place 3 times the amount of coral that everyone else can. So it's actually like kind of just really cool strategy combined with like really good computer vision stuff.
Sweet. I have no idea what these robots look like.
Yes.
So in my head, it's just like a BattleBots arena with like a robot with a ramp, and then a bunch of students chucking batons at it. That's the image in my mind at the moment.
You're not like drastically far off. Like it's like
nice.
they're basically 3 foot by 3 foot squares with mechanisms coming off of them.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, like our mechanism is we have like a ramp on one side, and then we have an elevator kind of in the middle, which is just like, a system that can go up and down. And that elevator on the front has like a little like launcher attached to it. And so the ramp, it just slides down the ramp through the elevator into the launcher and then gets raised up and dropped. And then like these elite bots, they have like their elevator can also fold down and extend that way, and it's got like a little hand, arm, claw thing that can suck up coral, and then it can raise it and place it. They're nuts. um it really is cool to watch
Yeah,
some of these
yeah, I can
elite
imagine.
teams. Yeah.
Sweet. Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if you should pray for us to make it to Worlds or pray for us not to make it to Worlds, but pray
Nah,
to
go
the
to
robot
Worlds.
gods.
Go to go to yeah, Claude, ChatGPT, Mistral, DeepSeek. Okay, well, congrats slash good luck.
Thanks.
Um,
Thanks.
I hope I hope you get to go to Houston. That sounds awesome.
I
That sounds
think I
great for the
I think I hope so too, but it's going to be so fucking exhausting if we have to go to Houston.
It's a good I feel like it's a good side like I don't know, B story to the Meta Monster stuff. You know, like it's cool that it's like your newsletters are your Meta Monster updates are here's Meta Monster, we're launching, but also look, we're doing things in robotics, which
Yeah.
is yeah.
Yeah. I didn't actually include a robot update in the MetaMonster email today. Maybe I should have.
You should. You should always include a Meta Monster. Oh, sorry,
A
a
robot
robot
update.
update. Yeah,
Yeah. Also, thank you for catching my error on my MetaMonster like launch announcement.
no problem.
I sent out a launch announcement to, as our friend Alex Hillman taught us, to like
Mhm.
pull back the slingshot, build the anticipation, and I included the wrong fucking date.
I think it's
Womp
good.
womp.
I hear that has more engagement and more like higher open rates when it's you send a follow
Just
up. It's like, oh, I
confuse the
fucked
shit
up.
out of people.
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Creates an air of mystique. You know.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, sure. We'll go
yeah.
with that.
How many folks are on that mailing list right now? 100, or is that
About
your?
300.
That's pretty good. That's pretty solid.
It's not bad. I'm still convinced that no one's going to sign up on Monday. I'm like pretty convinced no one's going to sign up.
What's your click through on the current on this one?
My open rates are usually around 40%.
Yep.
And then honestly, most of my emails don't have a compelling reason to click. Like a lot of times I try to
Mm,
include all of the content you need in the email. Um, so I don't know what my click through rates are gonna be. Um, you know, it looks like, yeah, I mean, like my highest click through rate is only like 3% or something. But again,
gotcha.
I don't have many where I'm like really trying to get people to click. So I don't know. We'll see.
Gotcha.
I wrote a blog post last week
Mhm.
and have been promoting that. And you can technically sign up for MetaMonster right now. And no one has signed up. So might need to work
Yeah.
on my conversion rates or something. I don't know.
It just takes time. It's not like you're doing the hot new AI frontier model stuff, you know.
Isn't that exactly what we're doing?
No, I know, but you're not like
Not like actually creating new models.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not doing like cool. Like I get that you're doing like a wrapper around the stuff, but I just
Wow,
mean
Sean, tell us
I
how you really feel. We're not
you're
cool. MetaMonster isn't
you're
cool.
not like 50 PhD like
No, we're not 50
PhD holders
PhDs. We are zero PhDs.
building DeepSeek. So
Yeah,
yeah.
fair. Um,
Um,
yeah. The post got decent traffic, but yeah,
okay.
once again, like my Screaming Frog blog post,
Mm-hmm.
you know, almost no waiting list conversions came from that, I think, which kind of makes sense. Like people are reading that one not really to, my hope was people would read it and go, this sounds like a pain in the ass. Let me try MetaMonster.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like people read it and were like, all right, cool. Now I'm going to go do this in Screaming Frog,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
to be fair is what the blog post is about, how to do
Yeah.
it in Screaming Frog. So I guess like that's kind of on me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's not there is value just building authority, you know, when providing
100%.
good
Yeah.
content. So
I
yeah.
think very few people these days read a blog post written by some new tool they've never heard of, and then immediately convert to that tool.
Yeah.
It's the whole like 6 touch thing or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You gotta, yeah. So I'm not actually that discouraged, but I am just like, that classic nervousness before a launch where I'm just like, is anyone gonna give a fuck about this thing at all? Um,
No, I feel
so
that. I feel that.
yeah,
I'm feeling I'm feeling nervous the closer we get to a product. Dustin, our new engineer,
yeah,
we get daily updates, and it's
uh-huh.
crazy. The speed at which he is doing things is
That's
insane.
awesome.
Like, it's a thing now, and I'm kind of every every day that he gets closer and closer, I get more and more nervous that we have to do this thing for real.
Yeah, you're gonna have to actually market something for once instead of just building it.
That's not true. That's not true. I can market it. Sorry. I could just sell it without marketing it. I could just give it to all of our clients, and then
Yeah,
um
hell yeah.
no, that's yeah. It's all yeah.
Have you started thinking about your marketing strategy for this once it's live? Like, obviously, using it with clients is like a built-in.
No, I think my plan is like to keep that in beta for a while and to have clients use it and then build content types and like um wait until well, I guess it's in June. So shit. Okay. No, I haven't thought about marketing plan would be like traditional
Wait, wait,
SaaS.
wait. What's in June?
Oh, you're right. Okay. Sorry. The thing that we are building basically is the thing that replaces what Webflow is deprecating in June. So our timeline is
Oh,
June. Um,
you're definitely gonna you should get some Webflow App Store juice hopefully out of this, right? Or like, are you gonna have anyone hire anyone to like, you know, comment on in the Webflow forums and Facebook groups and stuff?
no, but we can. I think. Okay, so here's what I thought about. Um, One is there's obviously other Webflow agencies that we know, so we can shop it over to them and say, "Hey, do you want to use this with your clients, etc." Have a channel reseller agreement in place. Pay them 20% of a rev share. I think they'll be happy to get that sort of stuff. Get their feedback. I think
Do you think they'll care about that?
the rev share or the product.
Rev share. Because like when I was
Mm,
running an agency, if someone had offered me a 20% rev share to like hawk their product, I would have looked at the numbers and gone, this is not worth my time. Like 20% like of, you know, because we had a relatively
mhm,
low client volume and relatively high tickets, like ticket price. And so, you know, it wasn't worth it to us to make $10 a month extra off of a client because it was like, no,
mhm.
we want to make $40,000 a month off of a client. I don't, the $10 a month is not really worth my time.
I think the contract values in like more Webflow agencies, is lower than that.
Sure.
Like we're talking like 10K and less for a
Uh
lot
huh.
of these, especially the smaller places.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of these Webflow folks are used to already selling Webflow to their clients and
Hmm.
getting rev share, a kickback from it as well.
Okay.
Like we're probably just a really stupid agency for not doing that and like
Hmm.
not applying for the enterprise. Like the enterprise partner program is not hard to get into. It's a form and like a test, and like we have an enterprise rep already, so it's honestly really easy, and we get like it's a pretty sizable kickback for all that sort of stuff. Um, so anyway, a lot of Webflow agencies already have a Webflow partner program or part of that. I think, um, it's such a natural integration. I think they'll be happy to get that kickback. Um, and I don't know, it's just like a lot of these agencies aren't charging that much money to do Webflow stuff, but
Yeah.
blogging is always going to be a pain in the ass. And I think
What would it take for
okay,
you to test this hypothesis?
phone a friend, just be like, "Yo," that's my strategy, by the way. Is just call up like call up a couple agencies that I already know. Hit up Jacob at BX Studio, Peter Kang's spot, and be like, "Yo, you guys want this thing?" Um,
Do you do that now? Like, do you do that next week?
No, absolutely not, because I think they're gonna vibe code. I think anyone I tell is gonna vibe code a alternative to it.
I mean, you have seen yourself how hard it is to actually get something off the ground that's like production ready.
Mm, I don't think so. I don't think it's that hard to replicate.
You use yourself. Also, I'm kind of losing
Uh,
track of which idea you're actually building. Are you
the editor. I'm the editor.
okay?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I don't think it's that hard to. I think okay, like
We
one,
had a whole conversation about how it's easy to get to prototype, but hard to get to real production quality software.
sure, but I don't think that everyone has the same standard of production quality software. And I think it is easy to vibe code your way into something that generally works, whether or not it's broken or not. Like it's, I don't know. I would
I think you're
rather
doing
hold
the
off
classic founder
and
bullshit where you're like, I'm not going to tell anyone about my idea because they're going to steal my idea. And in reality, like getting
mhm.
people to care about your idea is harder than you think it is.
I hear you on the first part. Um, I think you are wrong in terms of how easy it is to get people to care about it. But I don't know. That's also with a lot of bias, with a good couple pounds of bias there. Um, yeah, I think it'd be um I think my order of operations is just to try it out with a couple clients and then to worry about agency partners and everything like that. So I don't really care to necessarily tell a few agency. I mean, I have spoken to at least one agency person who's was like, "Oh, that's cool. Would be useful um for what it's worth." But it's like, you know, two text messages or three text messages rather than like a put your money where your mouth is sort of thing. Um yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What are
I
your
did have
goals
a
for this thing?
cool
You
go
want
ahead.
it to be like a self sustaining SaaS, right?
Mhm. What are you getting? Where are you getting with that?
I think you need to care more about marketing sooner than you do, than you're acting like you do.
It's a good no,
I think you're
I think you're right.
drastically underestimating. As someone who has spent the last 8 months trying to get people to give a fuck about a SaaS, I think you are drastically underestimating how hard this is going to be. This part's going to be. I think you're assuming like, I can just sort of like. I think you have an advantage. You're absolutely right. You have connections to your target audience, and like in and a model that can grow with a relatively small number of quote unquote sales because of the potential for like resell sales or like just like you know a value metric where you grow based off of like number of sites or whatever. But I yeah, you are better at marketing than I am for sure.
Wait,
So
hold on, hold on. You know, I think you're right, by the way. I just don't wanna do the whole agency partner thing. I was just telling you that's what I thought of so far.
okay.
I think you're right. That was my if you roll it back to the tape, there was like a, "Oh, shit" moment of like, "I don't have a marketing plan. I should think about that." For the record, for the record. I think you're right. I should be thinking about marketing. What I meant
Okay.
was so far all I've thought about was selling to our clients and agency partnerships,
Yeah.
but I don't think
Which
I've
is a
thought
good
about
first step. Like you could hopefully get to 5 customers that way. Um, the other part of my
yeah.
challenge though is if that's all you've thought of so far, I think you should talk to those agency partners sooner rather than later. And I think you shouldn't
Mhm.
worry about them vibe coding you out of like and beating you to the punch. But
I think if I were them, I would vibe code the thing and beat me to
yeah,
the punch though.
but
That's
one, a lot of people aren't as dumb as you. And
mhm.
I say lovingly,
That's
I'm
okay.
joking.
Go
I'm
ahead, go ahead, go
joking.
ahead. What's the second one? What's the second one? What's the second one?
2, I just think
Uh-huh.
this is a classic founder bullshit where everyone's like, my idea is brilliant. People are going to steal my idea. And in reality, most people have
Uh-huh.
their own ideas that they think are brilliant and don't give a fuck about your ideas.
That's a good point. That's a
I
good point.
just, the number of times that I've seen someone actually have their idea get stolen because they like talked to a potential customer or partner before the product was built and like that person actually managed to execute and get to market before them. I've been working in product and early stage startups now for like 10 years. Um, I've heard lots and lots of people have that exact fear. and the number of times I've seen it happen is zero. Not one, not two, not like, well, there was zero, and not even come close once. Like, it just never happens.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say you're not wrong. You're um you're not wrong. I'm not necessarily. Let me think about what I would do for marketing rather than just talking to agency partners about, like, it's not like I haven't had a conversation with at least one Webflow agency who hasn't been like, "Okay, cool. Seems like a useful thing." Um,
Yeah, one's not enough, but
sure. Sure, sure. But I don't know if that's necessarily just my singular strategy for growth is what I'm going for.
sure.
Like there's no reason not to think about the other things to do for marketing.
No, but now it sounds
Mhm.
like you're procrastinating on talking to people.
Totally. I hate talking to people. They can just buy it. They can- um I also think we have a very different time. Well, okay, I don't think we have very different timelines. I think we just have slightly different timelines and expectations of the thing
Yeah, totally.
at the
Which is
moment.
why I asked, like, do you
Mhm.
want this to be a self-sustaining SaaS? And to be
Mm.
fair, like the second part of that question is, I guess, to your point, how fast do you want it to be a self-sustaining SaaS? Um, it sounds to me like all of these things, and I say this with love,
That's okay.
kind of
Go
sound
ahead.
like excuses to not do the hard part,
Which part do you think is the hard part?
actually getting customers. And maybe this is a difference between you and me, where like,
Mhm.
you know, I've always felt like the product part was easy and the customer part is hard. And maybe to you, it's the other way around. I don't know. Um,
Well, I think my first 5 customers is easy. I think my like
great. So why not start getting them now?
like getting them to pay for it now or getting them to
I mean, I
use
didn't get
it or
anybody to pay for it. Although I did then immediately find that like reduced their incentive to use it. Um, uh,
wait, hold on. Let's take a step back. What are you suggesting I do? Talk to customers or talk to agency partners?
to me agency partners are just a form of customer. So I'm really thinking in the agency partners because those feel to me like your most obvious first five customers is like agency folks.
Why isn't it just my clients now that all say they need it?
Fair. I guess okay. You are thinking about licensing this like each account is one site, not there's not like a site value metric.
What do you mean? What is a site value metric?
Sorry. In pricing, value metric is like this thing goes up, you charge more. And
Mhm.
so um you're thinking about this, it sounds like more as like each site would pay for this once, not um agencies would pay for like 5 sites at a time or 10
Yeah.
sites at a time or
No.
something.
No. I think that each Webflow workspace would pay for it on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um so you're
Mhm.
looking at your customers, your ICP as the actual like content team.
Yeah.
Um and so you have talked to clients about using
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And
Yeah.
so you think you have 4 to 5 clients who would pay for it
Yeah.
when it's ready.
Totally. 100%.
Sick.
100%.
Cool.
Yeah. That is the part I talk about all, not to you. I mean like that conversation is the conversation I have all the time. I had it yesterday actually.
Cool.
Um yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that is different. I
Uh
still think you should talk to the agency partners too, but
I think you're right. I think it's a good call.
yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. I'd prefer to have something to demo them for what it's worth, but sure, I think you're right.
Yeah, I
Um
mean, I feel like you could definitely have the conversation without something to demo and then follow up and be like, "Hey, remember that thing we talked about? I have a demo ready." And then, but either way.
sure. I mean, we are like maybe 5 days away from it being done, so
Okay,
Sure, I
fine,
can line.
fine.
I no,
You're
I can line things up. I could. You're right. I'm probably procrastinating. So yeah, I'll line a conversation up.
hell yeah,
That'll be my small effort of the week. I'll line a agency partnership conversation up.
sick.
Yeah,
That's dope.
great. All right.
And you've got built-in customers from your clients. Damn, I'm fucking jealous.
Well, that's why I'm building.
I
That
know.
was
That's why
the
you're building it.
that was the hack. That was
Yeah, I
the.
keep forgetting that.
I see. I
I
see.
keep
I see.
forgetting that. I think because I'm in MetaMonster world where we're charging the agencies, which maybe we're
Mm,
gonna find out that was wrong. That was the wrong thing to do. But I think MetaMonster is a slightly different product because it's more of like a cost of goods sold than
mm,
like a
yeah.
something that the
Yeah.
individual teams would want to pay for.
For now. For now. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah. 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 I mean, I don't know. I don't have a good like sense of whether or not an internal SEO would pay for MetaMonster.
I think
I
no
feel
right
like.
now. Like
Mhm.
in its current iteration, where all it can do is page titles and meta descriptions. Like I've seen it. The two people we have in the alpha who are one. I haven't asked one of them to pay, but like I should probably have a conversation with him. But I'm pretty positive based on his usage that like I wouldn't recommend he pay for it. Um, and the other one, who was getting value out of it, was our friend Mike, and I talked to him, and he's like, "Yeah, no, like it's useful for me in this short spurt, but it's not going to be useful to me yet on an ongoing basis. And you got to get that ongoing basis thing figured out to make a SaaS tool worth it to someone. And so, like, you know, if we, you know, if we add some like automation stuff, if we add some more, you know, sort of optimizations we can do for people, like I could see us getting to a point where it's a useful tool for internal teams, but in its current iteration, I don't think it is.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, anyway, Zach Stevens, Conversion Factory. That's I'm calling you out. I'm going to be knocking on your door, your LinkedIn door, in about 40 minutes. Scheduling a call. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I yeah. Anyway, the reason I'm like I haven't thought about marketing is just because I'm trying to cheat the whole thing by getting our clients slash previous clients or whatever just start using it. But yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I did have I know what I know my hook is. It's blogging on Webflow sucks because I said that yesterday at a happy hour. And I watched someone I wasn't talking to just lean in and go, "Yup."
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
cool. Hell
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. It has to. If your premise is blogging on Webflow sucks, your product has
Has
to
to not
not
suck.
suck.
Yeah,
I think we're still figuring out tables are hard. Building building good web tables a little difficult. There's a lot of there's a lot of testing. There's a lot more roadblocks we've run into um as we've been
classic.
working on this. So
Yeah.
like there's an API rate limit and like
Oh, that's a
oh
pain.
and then there's like what if yeah, you're right. Maybe nobody else can vibe code it faster than we can build it because of the head start of what we have, given the fact that of all the other headaches we run into. Yeah, we also have to wait for Webflow to approve our app.
Of course.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there's all that stuff.
Have you
Um,
started that part of the process?
no, we just found out. I just found out about the part of the process. Like,
Cool.
yeah, it's there's like approving the app in the Webflow app ecosystem. That's one thing, but there's also just like OAuthing through Webflow, and then
Oh, okay.
that has its own, I think, application process. So
Cool.
a lot of fun things we've learned.
Speaking of CMSs, did I tell you Austin gave me a working demo of our WordPress plugin
No,
yesterday?
is it awesome? Is it
It's cool, yeah.
okay?
There's still like a lot of little things to dial in. Like we have to
Mm,
do our like API key generation and stuff.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, he was in like 2 weeks, week and a half, able to get uh, a WordPress plugin that will accept an API key and then has endpoints that we can hit to push content, push optimizations into WordPress. one of the tricky things about the I've been talking to some more people, putting feelers out there to some of our alpha users about like, would custom prompts or chat with your site be interesting? What do you think about this? And one of the things that I would have to figure out if we go down that route is like, how the fuck do we get an open-ended custom prompt into WordPress, um, or into a CMS, because we don't know what the the data is.
How do you get a wait? How do you get an open-ended custom prompt? Why would you get it into WordPress?
If people like, say you write a prompt to fix typos, right? Um, then you want to be able to sync those fixed typos to your CMS, um, through MetaMonster, ideally. How do you do that if we don't know what the prompt did? So like, it's easy for us to build, add, although it is going to
Oh,
be a headache. Like every time we roll out a new generation, we're going to have to update all of our plugins to be able to support that, updating that field in the CMS. So that's going to be a pain in and of itself. But then if we have just custom open-ended prompts, then it's going to be, the only way I can think of for us to manage that is to start going like full agentic and like have the agent identify, and that the agent would have to live inside of the plugin. It would have to live on the WordPress side, which I don't even know if that's possible. I don't know if anyone's built like an agentic, and it would be so risky because like, what if it overwrites something you don't want it to overwrite?
is this where like MCP comes in?
I don't.
Is this where?
Me? I don't think so.
Yeah, I see
No,
what you mean though. There's like, well, there is like a WordPress REST API, right?
yeah,
And that's
but you
half
don't
of
know
that.
what fields, you don't know what to tell WordPress to update if you don't know what you have.
Yeah, yeah. So like, if you have, can you can't you
So like, the way the plugin
do?
works right now is the plugin actually has its own API endpoint
Right.
that we hit with like, so we call that API endpoint and say, hey, update these pages with this metadata. And
Mm-hmm.
then it, you know, puts that into the right place depending on which plugins, which other plugins are installed and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so that logic of like, put this here in the CMS is impossible if you don't know what you're putting, if you don't know what you have.
Right.
And
Right.
you, like, AI could in theory solve that,
Mm-hmm.
because you could say, you you have like a flexible agent that goes, okay, what is this? Okay, let me ask an LLM where in WordPress to make this update. Okay,
Right.
now I'll like, you know,
Go make
call
the
the REST API or whatever.
sure.
But that's really risky, because if it hallucinates, then you accidentally overwrite, you know, something important on your website. So I don't think we'd want to do that.
You could have like a human in the loop last mile thing of like, here's the things that we are going to update. Press confirm so that we make the update. So there's
Yeah,
that. But
yeah, you'd probably have to have some sort of check or something.
yeah,
But I don't even know how possible that would be to do. Yeah, I don't know. It's
yeah.
complicated.
Okay, I see what you're saying. There's like a level of like instrumentation that's involved that makes it harder. Part of my conversation last night, by the way, is that the frontier, like all the new models, don't actually hallucinate that much. One of the guys was talking about how they were using AI to write like pen test reports and all this sort of stuff. Like there's an art to prompting and getting it right and all that sort of stuff. But the only problem that they ran into was that the AI would just get like, when they wrote like a incident response report, for example, it would just, like, it wasn't wrong. It was just very doomer of the situation. Like, you have failed login attempt. You have like, you know,
When you
rogue
say the
login
new
attempts,
frontier models, like, which models are you including in that?
like 3.7 Sonnet.
Okay, because I just used 3.7 Sonnet to generate emails, like, to generate a rough draft of like my onboarding emails that I'm gonna be setting up, and it just made up testimonials and decided my name was Mike.
Isn't it? Is
What?
it? No, no. That's a Mike from MetaMonster. What do you mean? That's your
It does roll
pseudonym.
off the tongue nice
Yeah, it's
nicely.
better than Andrew and Austin from MetaMonster. It's not. It doesn't hit. Yeah. Um.
So I do not think I'm at the point where I would trust any model to, you know, over willy-nilly overwrite something in my website without like oversight. And again, I don't even know. Yeah, I'd have to talk to Austin, who's been looking at the WordPress code. I don't.
There's no way you can like the plug. I don't know what permissions plugins get or anything, but like, can't they like audit sort of what exists currently, um, and feedback information uh, like I don't know. This WordPress site has this like has these pages, has these posts, has these plugins, has these settings. I don't know how much WordPress literally will
I think
surface
you
up
can
to its
do a
API.
lot. Like I don't. I think this is one of the dangers and the positives of WordPress is that it's pretty open-ended. Like it's not super locked down. But still, like if you don't know what you're updating, then you don't know what to look for.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You still need that extra instrumentation. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I guess what you're saying is you could have people manually map it to they could write a prompt and then you could have like some sort of system where it's like, hey, here are your options for what you can update. What tell us what this
Yeah,
prompt
yeah.
is.
Hit a confirm if we guessed right. Like,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's something like that that we could do. Um if
Mm.
we had like, hey, here's all the things our plugin can do. Do any of
Mm.
these things fit what your prompt does?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's probably
Um,
the way to solve it short term besides going like crazy agent.
it'd be cool. Would be cool. There's a lot of like really cool like tech that's getting built out here that's separate from like MetaMonster is like a single use case of like the ability to crawl the site and turn it into Markdown better than just Firecrawl is or Gina or whatever. Um, there's a lot of like other things you're building while building MetaMonster, which is
Yeah,
cool.
it's kind of nuts. Yeah, like I still want to open MetaMonster up to be like way more than just metadata. Um, and but like that's going to be such a positioning challenge if we get to that point, figuring out like how to describe MetaMonster, like who it's for and what the use cases are, and like
Right.
it's so much. It's like the positioning is easy right now, but it the more we try to flexible we make it, the harder that positioning gets. Um, but yeah, yeah. One little feature that I want to add as soon as possible is like just export Markdown from your site because like we have the Markdown internally.
It would
Um,
be super useful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I found out Lex has an API where you can
Cool.
create documents inside of Lex, and so I was like, that would be sick. Maybe one day I'll just go in and build like a little meta monster to Lex um, like option so that I could push all of my content, my markdown content into Lex, and then I could go there to like prompt off of it.
This kind of reminds me of I think Carbon was a startup that did something like this. It was just like pipe website content into some like whatever other thing you wanted to use. It got bought out by Perplexity a while back. So yeah, if you know Perplexity wants to buy another one,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there is like a world where we end up going into like in like a Zapier direction where it's like we don't try to do everything ourselves, but we try to be like
mm,
the reliable no code way to get your website content
yeah,
into the tools that you want to use.
yeah, yeah. I mean, get it out and get it back in is it is kind of cool. There's like some really interesting things there. Um, yeah, sounds like an engineering nightmare. By the way, sounds like sounds like
Yeah, we have definitely not picked the simplest tool in the world to build. Like it felt simple at first. It was just like, just scrape a web page and throw it at AI. And but then it's like, yeah, all of the pieces, doing all of the pieces to the standard that we want to do them.
yeah.
Um, By the way, like Ahrefs has a direct MetaMonster competitor now, but they don't have any CMS integrations. Like they just have a JavaScript snippet.
Yeah, yeah. Their whole thing is dynamic though, right? It's not.
You mean like loaded on page
Yeah,
load?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, that's
I
search
mean, it's
atlas.
not dynamic. I don't think they're like optimizing it based on the user or anything. Like I think
I just mean it's loaded in client side.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which like we will probably do at some point just so that cuz if you have that JavaScript snippet, then it's like you instantly support every CMS.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
but the people I talked to were like kind of 50-50 on it. Like a lot of people were like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess I would use it," but like no one thought it was a good idea. It's
I don't
more
think it's
like
a good idea. I think it's
it's
a
more like I'll
terrible
hold my
idea.
nose and do it if I have to.
Yeah, I think it's a. I really dislike that. Like, yeah, fundamentally. Um,
Same. That's why we didn't start there.
it just feels so dirty. It feels so wrong. Yeah.
The little shudder was hilarious.
It also. I don't know. I guess it comes down to like, especially once you start supporting things outside of just meta titles, it feels worse and worse, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine all your typos was fixed by a JavaScript snippet rather
Oh
than just
yeah.
having the correct content. Imagine images were getting loaded in by said JavaScript snippet. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of makes. I mean, not that Ahrefs or Search Atlas or any of the other ones do this sort of thing, but it's kind of like you kind of become a mini CDN in that way, right?
You do. And also clients are like dependent on you. So if your service goes down, suddenly there's typos all over their site and their site isn't
Mhm,
optimized anymore.
mhm.
And like um
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I don't like that.
it's a security nightmare. It's like it's just gross in so many ways. I don't like it at all. Um can I tell you one more crazy fun meta monster idea I have for the future just like
Go
while
for it.
we're talking
Sure,
about it?
sure, go for it.
Okay, so we've talked before about wanting to eventually have like recurring crawls where it's like, okay, you crawl it every Friday and tell me what's broken or what I need to optimize. Um, imagine if you get that report in an email
Hmm.
and then you can just reply to the email in plain text in like natural language and say fix these things,
That'd be pretty sweet. That'd
and
be
then it
pretty.
just gets done for you.
Yeah, dude, the future. I was just reading. Remember a couple episodes ago when I was like, chat for AI is a terrible user experience, right? And Heaton Shaw just also tweeted that, by the way. But more importantly, email emailing my AI bot actually sounds so fun.
Yeah,
Like,
I
yeah,
think someone else, this isn't an original idea of mine. Like, we might have even talked about this on a past episode, but like, email is a great format for AI because
mm,
it's not live. You're not expecting a response right away.
mhm,
It's, there's like, it's structured. There's, a chain you can follow. It's
yeah.
self auditing, it creates an audit trail. Um,
You have search. You can forward. You can CC. You can
yeah.
bring people into it.
And just like, yeah, it's like it's not there's no expectation that it happens right away.
Hmm.
And it's how people are used to communicating already.
Hmm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, you know, every now and then these new interface we talk about these new interfaces and stuff and like
Yeah,
most of them don't take hold, but
yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see if like AI over email ever actually takes hold or not.
I mean, AI over like a hotkeyed email inbox, like a superhuman or like your own Gmail just with hotkeys, sounds pretty cool. Um, like I do, like on my email, I do a main inbox and then I do multiple like an action items inbox. I do a multiple inbox layout, and then
Okay.
a waiting on sort of thing. But I can see how, if I have my main inbox, but then I also have like a tag that's like waiting on AI, right? Or I do something, gets auto tagged, then it goes into a queue on the right side. After it's done, it pops up to like my action items thing that I can check it out. It's kind of cool. It's like delegation, but with AI doing things. Yeah. Cool. Sweet. And if someone should go build that, and then I can use it. Then it'd be great. Um, cool. Our new product marketer just started this Monday. Yeah, yeah. it feels like we've done nothing but onboard new people recently, which is pretty crazy. Q1 just ended. That was pretty also pretty wild. We made in the past 90 days, we uh did basically how much we did. Uh well, twice what we did last Q1.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
that's awesome growth.
Thanks.
Um, what kind of stuff is your product marketer going to be working on?
Um, Client product marketing stuff, so like website copy, website layouts,
Are they going to
other
be
sort of.
doing like strategy kind of stuff with clients? So like helping them figure out like what content
I hope
to
so.
include and like how to, positioning and like how to brand themselves.
That is my goal. That is my
Cool.
yeah, that is my goal. It's only day 2 for her,
Yeah, of
so
course.
we'll see. Yeah, that is my goal. So that I am out of all of or most of it. So
That'd be
it's
sick,
exciting.
man.
Yeah, I'm so ready to not be the only person doing that. Yeah, I don't. I don't know. I gotta figure out how to. I gotta figure out how to delegate out the work, um, it properly for it, and figure out it's like a different role that I haven't really managed before.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I
And I
also
assume it'll be kind of like a slow transition. You'll start handing things off in pieces and then slowly try to ramp up to where you've handed everything off.
I think so. I mean, I think I get the sense that they are also very eager to just start helping and doing things, and
Cool.
they have a high bias for action and high agency. And I don't want to be
You don't want
like,
to
I can
limit
see
that.
how I can just kill that, right, by not giving enough, but I
Hmm.
can also see, I don't know, I got to figure something out with it. It's a new, yeah, it's a new skill that I have to learn.
How fast could you see yourself hiring a second product marketer? Like, do you think one person will be able to manage the load for a while if they're not also having to do all of your other work? Or do you think that like you could pretty quickly ramp up to two and even like make this a bigger part of the service offerings that you all provide?
I would, probably 6 months at most, at least. I think I would, yeah, I doubt it. I think it would be probably 9 to 12 months.
Cool.
The main thing is like, um this is like a very egotistical thing to say, but I think the longer I've done this, the more I am uniquely qualified to do this than anyone else, purely off of like a awesome product marketer. But there's no way you as a single awesome product marketer at two companies in your or two or three companies in your career have seen this many security companies,
Yeah. So
and
you're
are
partially just like you've got to teach the market knowledge. You've got to like
yeah.
get the market knowledge out of your head into their head.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not even yeah, it's market knowledge, it's like industry sector knowledge, like,
And
they
that's
come from
something you've been
deal-based stuff,
trying to
so
get figure out like with the whole team. Like I feel like when you talk about onboarding and you talk about training, a lot of what it sounds like you're talking about is not like we're training you how to be a good web designer. It's like, no, we want to hire people who are already good web designers and then train them on how to do web design for cybersecurity.
yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, I think it's trying to train in the empathy of the end user/buyer. Slash buyer. Um, yeah,
And just all that like, oh, if we talk about ourselves like this, 30 other companies already talk about themselves like that. So it's going
right,
to just come across as blah,
right,
bland
right.
versus, yeah. Also, there's just so much fucking jargon and
There really is.
so many acronyms and like so much lingo.
There really is. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the other thing is, like, I think the industry, like, you can see the pattern of the market become like starts with the visibility tool, then it gets into security posture management, and then it gets into detection and response, and then it's like, let's do another thing to be a larger platform because we need more ARR, and that's why you have like CSPM, SSPM, KSPM, ASPM, DSPM, and then you have yeah. I
You
don't know,
should
man.
you should
It's
encourage them to like read through some of Mike's industry reports.
oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, uh, we we tell them to. We tell them to subscribe. Yeah, we boost Mike's numbers up by 10 people.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike's a good resource for that sort of stuff. Ross is a good resource as well. All the creators I think are solid
I
resources, but
I don't remember if I like full on pitched this to Mike, but it was in my head, and I feel like I sort of half pitched it to him.
mhm.
Um, I
Mike
think,
Privet, by the way, return on
yeah, Return
security.
on Security, one of our
Subscribe.
good friends,
Yeah.
MetaMonster alpha user.
Yeah.
Um, I think he should do like a programmatic SEO play for cybersecurity acronyms. Um, like just build a massive database of acronyms and what they mean, and then um, like just have like a search interface where people can go and like search for like this acronym.
Dude, I pitched the same half of the same thing to Mike. It's so funny. I pitched him you know what Tech Target is?
No.
Okay, Tech Target is this giant network of blogs across the internet. Anything from healthcare tech to fintech to AI to all this sort of stuff. And they're all B2B business blogs, right? And a lot of what they do is what is ASPM, what is KSPM, what is CDR, well, all that sort of stuff, and they rank highly for it. And the blogs all link to each other, so they all pass SEO juice, and it's kind of just like a private blog network, but like more legal version that Google's okay with. The point that I'm getting at is like tech. Basically, when AI writing started, I was like, Mike, maybe you should do something like this because you can create these like little blog assets on the internet, rank them highly, and the thing that Tech Target sells you is account based marketing. You want the CISO of MetLife or the MetLife team to buy your stuff. You Tech Target knows that the MetLife, because they download things and they get their email. Tech Target knows that they go to healthcaresecurity.net, they go to dark reading, whatever, they go to whatever. So they're going to strategically put ads on these assets, and then try to put a sponsored white paper from you on here to try to get the
Damn.
CISO of whatever. It's like 75K a campaign or something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
So
nuts. I guess
yeah.
there's like mixed value to doing that stuff these days because like
Mhm.
that is exactly the kind of top of funnel informational content that is like losing search share the fastest to AI overviews and you know AI
Yeah.
searches and
I,
whatnot. But
I mean, do you think people are going to Claude and going, what is
well, but it doesn't even matter if they. I think
Mhm.
sometimes yes. Like
Mhm.
I have Typing Mind open pretty much 24/7 now, and I like
Mhm.
it's like kind of 50-50 at this point whether I'm going to run a Google search for something like that or a
Mhm.
Claude search. Um, uh, but um, but also just like Google's AI overviews. Like this is the kind of stuff that like Gemini will have. Like you won't get any clicks because no one's ever going to get scroll down far enough to get to your link.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Branded search is probably a lot higher.
Yeah.
On
Also, he has a. That's the other thing he should do is have a database of have like a page for every cybersecurity company, because
Yeah. I mean, he does have that. He does just
sort of
not
he has the database, but
yeah.
he doesn't have informational pages about all of them,
Yep. Yep, yep, yep.
and he has them in mentioned in all of his newsletters.
Yep.
Um, but if you had like informational pages, like a programmatic SEO style informational pages about every, then you could potentially capture some of the branded search.
Yeah.
Um, I guess then you run the risk of like all of a sudden now you're building like Trustpilot for
Yep. Yeah,
cybersecurity.
yeah. You're just G2
Yeah,
at this point.
but like
I mean, that's giant business.
maybe
Just
that's a good
for what it's
business.
worth. G2 is a crazy business. Yeah.
Also, like neither of us really have room to be advising Mike on anything because he's doing really well. Like
100%.
he's doing great.
100%. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know what we're talking about here. That's
He doesn't need us.
yeah. The guy has better margins than both of us combined at the moment.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Although it was super fun, I gave him like a little like one
Uh-huh.
pager of SEO ideas.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this on the last episode, and he's like one of those rare quote unquote clients who actually went and started implementing all of them. Like he just started running with it, and I was like, "This is fucking awesome!" Someone who listens.
Yeah. Cool. What else is We're like 14 minutes over on the
This is like
podcast
way
at this point.
longer than any of our
Yeah.
episodes have been in a long time. You want to wrap real quick by talking about video?
Yeah, totally. Well, we have a new editor, so hopefully this actually isn't a long podcast at all, and it's cut down.
Yeah.
Or you can play the whole thing. Anyway,
Generally,
Shannon.
please cut out anything you think is boring or bullshit, which
Yeah.
I got to be careful with that. He might cut out, 75% of the podcast.
SEO gone.
Andrew's
Uh,
robot bullshit gone.
gone. Yeah, we have a new editor. I think the new episode is coming out either today, tomorrow, for last week with our our dude. When I saw that intro to the podcast, I was like, wow, we're not this interesting. They're gonna be so. Remember when
You're drastically overselling by making us sound interesting at the start of the podcast, and then people are gonna listen and be like,
yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
damn.
I think um I showed him our aspirational channels, and I think he gave me like a plan for how to grow this channel and how to do all that sort of stuff because he has experience doing that for other folks. And I just like, dude, here's what we're trying to do, trying to get to. I could see it calculated in his head. I'm like, these guys just want 500 viewers per video. What are these?
What are these idiots
Fucking
doing? Like,
losers.
why am I wasting my time on someone who only wants 500 views
Yeah.
per episode? Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, you got to make 3 shorts a day, and then it's like,
Oh God.
I don't have the capacity to do
What?
that. But hopefully he'll clip some good stuff out of this and turn them into shorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, content creation is hard, man. Being a full-time content creator is a lot.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot of work.
Not even just like being successful as a content creator, just the work of content creation at that scale.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Also, it just requires like a little, not even a little bit. It feels like it requires so much delusion and so much just like you have to be completely unembarrassed.
Yeah.
You have to just be like kind of shameless.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I think there's some merit to that. Like this idea that content creation is just unlearning shame, I think is good. There's
Yeah.
probably some level of healthiness to it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like everything in balance. Like we all probably have too much shame, and like one thing that I've been trying to do a little bit better job of is when people ask you what you do or something like that, I always try to downplay it because I don't want to come across as like, annoying tech bro who's like gabbing about his startup. But
Yeah.
it's like you should have a little bit of pride in your work and be like, yeah, I think this is cool. I think it's interesting. It's okay if you don't. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been trying to figure out like an answer to the like, the classic "what do you do?" or question. Or even when I talk about this podcast, I always try to downplay it because I don't want to be again another tech bro with a shitty podcast that only gets 15
100%.
listeners.
100%. 22.
Yeah,
All right.
but yeah, so I'm trying to do a slightly better job of having a little bit of pride in what I do and not being afraid of being, typecast into such a shitty category and just being like, no, like I can be humble about this, but also and not be like an asshole about it who thinks he's hot shit, but I can also still be proud of the work that I've put in and like, the the things that I find interesting, I can, let people know that I find them interesting and fun.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, having a kick-ass editor who makes us look way more interesting really helps the ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we could have taken the time to learn to edit at some point, but every time I tried, I just stared at the screen and was like, this does not compute.
I know how to edit. Hold on, that's not true. I know how to clip things and move them around and do that sort of stuff, but there is like an extra level of it, of making it good.
The worst part was if you're going to be a good editor, you have to listen to what you're editing.
I know.
And I didn't want to listen to myself.
It's the worst part. It's the worst part. It was the worst part of running my own podcast. Having to sit through that over and over and over again.
I should probably listen to us at least occasionally so that I
Mhm.
get better and get feedback on what works and what doesn't. But God, it just sucks.
I mean, I think listening while you're editing is a little different. Like, has been a little. I like our podcast. I listen to them every now and then.
Hmm.
I check them out. I mean, I might be pumping up the view numbers by listening to it once or twice on YouTube, but yeah. I'm just saying, like editing your own voice uh
It's a
every
different
week.
level of hell.
Yeah.
Cool. Sweet, man. Good
Cool.
good chatting with you.
Thanks.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to see um
Yeah,
progress on
I'll send you the most recent one. We got
well
images.
that, and I'm excited to see how far the SaaS product has come by the next time we talk.
Yeah.
And see how that LinkedIn outreach goes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Also, next episode, MetaMonster Beta should be launched, and I will know if anyone has signed up or not.
When is it coming out? April
7th.
It's not March. Okay, April 7th. That is
Monday.
5 days from. Yeah, okay, that's Monday. Sorry, I can't do math. Cool.
Yeah, so by
Good luck.
Wednesday when we're recording this, hopefully I will have a handful of new users, whether they're customers, whether they become customers or not. I won't know
Right.
for, until the free trial runs out. We've got a 7-day free trial, but I will at least know if we have any new users.
Sweet. I hope I hope we don't record this because you'll be too busy fighting client fires and going, "Oh shit, our crawler is down," because we have 10 people simultaneously banging on it.
I don't think that should send our crawler down. It seems to be more like when we run into really weird esoteric, like,
Websites and
HTML structure stuff
Mhm.
that is
Yeah,
bizarre. That
gotcha.
seems to be what brings it down. Although we haven't had as many problems lately. You know what's funny though?
Mhm.
It does not like the Tech Tigers website, the robotics team
Oh,
website
really?
is like a little Canva site, and something about how Canva does their sites.
Yeah.
The
Because
me-
it's like image first, and
is it really okay?
I think so. I've seen a couple of Canvas sites. They're weird. They're
Yeah.
very weird. Yeah,
Okay. Cool. That makes me feel a little better.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think we'll have too many Canva sites that people will be working on, so I'm
I
not
don't think
super
it's
worried
your
about it.
use. I don't think it's your use case.
No,
You know.
I'm not super worried about it.
Yeah,
But
you should try out some Framer sites. Actually, I'm gonna go
it's
run
just
MetaMonster against
it,
Framer sites.
it's funny because I was trying to show it off to my like programmer kid on the team.
Mhm.
I was like, "Hey, you want to see like what I've been working on? Here, I'll crawl the team website." And then I was like, "Fuck, it's broken." And he just
Oh
like
no!
looked at me like,
He just pats you on the back. Like, it's okay, man. We've been there. Maybe next year you'll get into Worlds,
I
but we.
tried I tried to be nice, and like I went in on Sunday to fix something on the robot, and I ended up causing more issues than I fixed. And he was like working on fixing them on
Uh-huh.
Tuesday last night. And I was like, "All right, Emiliano, what can I do to help?" And he looks at me and goes, "Just step back."
That's amazing. I Kudos to your kids for making it to states, even with you.
Even with me dragging them down.
If they lose Worlds, it's your fault. Not
Oh, absolutely.
cool.
All right,
Well,
man.
good luck to them. Good luck to your
Yeah.
launch.
Thanks.
Excited for Monday.
Lots going on between now and the next episode.
Yeah. Good luck. Have fun. Enjoy.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you later.
All
Bye.
right. Peace.